HBO announced today that their annual homeless benefit, Comic Relief, will be held this November. HBO has been involved in the homeless problem for years because undoubtedly they have a sense of compassion. And hey, let's face it, somebody doesn't have a home, somebody doesn't have cable. You know, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but the trickle of souls who fall through society's cracks has become a full-fledged tsunami. Have you taken a stroll around Manhattan lately? The only thing separating it from Calcutta are the Benetton stores. And it is a sight that's become all too familiar here in LA as well. We've all seen them wandering the streets with their possessions and shopping bags, muttering to themselves as they pick through garbage bins. But enough about agents. Now, right up front, do I believe that every single one of these people that I see on the street has been fucked around by life? No, I don't. There's some people out there who I think are scam artists, and I don't have much compassion for some of these seemingly able-bodied, mid-20s, vaguely threatening, attitude-laden guys who have decided that their personal statement is that they're going to give up on life at a very early stage of the game. Sorry, boys, life can be a motherfucker, and some of you just got to get a little tougher, all right? But more importantly, I also believe that the great majority of people I see wandering the streets are in trouble, not of their own making. The homeless are made up of many people: poor, alcoholics, runaways, Viet vets, cast-offs from mental institutions, immigrants. They're all out there every night. And the rest of us are finding it easier and easier to rationalize their plight. But there's one group of homeless people that we can't rationalize away, one specific subgroup that haunts us to an ever-increasing degree, the one that really rattles our thorax, and those are the unlucky. People who couldn't quite cut a mortgage payment, got laid off a month later, had to leave their home, kid got sick, medicine wiped out the rent money, and wham, they're on the street. Even the assholes among us can't rationalize them away. Lazy, stupid, drunk, drugged, no. They're us. They're us with one lousy fucking wrong turn somewhere down the line. Of course, Rush Limbaugh and his ilk think that the homeless are just the weakest of the herd who should be sent off to the island of misfit toys without a pang of remorse. Ironically enough, Limbaugh is very popular with the homeless community in this country because there always seems to be a new refrigerator box in his trash bin. And Limbaugh begat Gingrich and his congressional ilk, who are hard at work trying to pass legislation that would fund their new stealth homeless project. You know, they're there, but you can't see them. But for those of us not hypnotized by talk radio or partisan hype, we know a hell of a lot of people are living one paycheck away from being out in the street. There's no job security anymore. Most of the jobs available in this country won't earn you enough to pay rent on Baltic and Mediterranean, and they're the shitty purple ones. What's the solution? What's the solution? Is it too simplistic to say that karma dictates Cato Kalin begin taking homeless people in? Nobody has gotten this much ink off of not having a place to live since Jesus Christ. And the answer is certainly not the housing projects. Look at the most famous example of public housing we have in this country, the White House. The government can't even keep the president from being shot at. How are they going to do it for a couple of 5-year-olds in Cabrini Green? We tried to come up with a simple solution to a complicated problem and ended up creating so much bureaucratic red tape we got caught with our panacea down around our ankles. We can also disregard the solutions of the ultra-conservatives that we should build softer sidewalks, or the ultra-liberals who think that the homeless should unionize. This is not about the right or the left wing, but about the gated communities and the cardboard Hiltons. And if many of these people on the streets are mentally ill, well, a lot of people in houses are too. You just can't keep tinting your car windows until you can no longer see your beleaguered neighbors out on the street. Folks, there are so many things we don't have the cure for, but this is not one of them. When it comes to homelessness, we have the Lorenzo's oils. Is there a greater irony than a homeless person sitting on the steps of a boarded-up apartment building? There are a shitload of structures all across this country that are not being used to their maximum efficiency. And I'm just not talking about the United States Capitol building. We have to retrieve these buildings from the building code bullshit land and start making sure people without a roof over their heads are getting into them at night. No American should ever have to live in a dwelling where the walls read "this end up." In addition to making use of these buildings, we have to devise a system where the money donated to help these people goes directly into their frostbitten hands instead of going to people that don't even need it. This country has so many special interests sucking off the entitlement teat that oftentimes the only substantive money actually getting through to the homeless is in the form of spare change. And finally, what we have to understand as a nation is that Thomas Jefferson didn't quite go far enough. All men are created equal, but not all men are equal at all times. And occasionally people need assistance. They have trouble keeping up with the pack. And while it might be difficult, if we can't begin to make the wide bank and swing this love boat around so that we can go back and throw life preservers at the non-swimmers who are drowning in our wake, then we truly deserve to hit a fucking iceberg. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't...